Ladies and gentlemen, the African Forward Summit is underway in Nairobi. The two-day summit, co-hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron and President William Ruto, 38 of states who are now in attendance. The most Kenya International Convention Center is the venue. The official narrative that is being breached here is the equal era of partnership between France and Africa. What is actually happening here is more complicated than that. Start with why France is in Nairobi at all. Paris has been expelled from its former colonials in the Sahel, that is Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, all historically within France's sphere of influence, have pushed French military and diplomatic presence out of their countries. The alliance of Sahel states, known as IES, represents a bloc of countries that have openly rejected French engagement. Their absence and goldness at this summit is not incidental. It is the central fact that explains everything else about this summit. France is not in Nairobi to expand from a position of strength. Paris is here because its traditional African partnership have collapsed, and Nairobi is the only recalibration point. For President William Ruto, the calculation is different and far more deliberate. Kenya has never been a French colony. This is the first time the Africa-France Summit has been held in a non-Francophone country. That breaks the precedence is not accidental. It is the entire point. So Ruto has been constructing Kenya's identity as a continental economic gateway and a diplomatic capital. Hosting this summit in Nairobi on Anglophone soil is the clearest expression of that ambition to date. So both leaders therefore arrived at the summit with matching interest. France needs a credible new African partner, and Kenya needs a high-profile platform to cement its continental leadership role. That convergence is real, and it produces genuine deliverables. On the sectorial side, the alignment is visible. Both governments are pushing for a fairer international financial architecture on the climate finance. A digital initiative, the Talent Africa France Fast Track, has been launched, offering priority visa to African tech entrepreneurs seeking to work between the continent and the France as a country. Schneider Electric has committed to a $120 million manufacturing plant in Mombasa, directly aligned with Kenya's green energy agenda. These are not symbolic gestures. They are concrete investment and framework that serves both government, states' priority. As a business forum, this summit functions. Meanwhile, the disconnects beneath the polished surface are equally concrete. The Kenyan government recently cancelled $1.5 billion highway deal with French consortium Vinci SA, redirecting that contract to a Chinese firm. The state reason was excessive financial risk to Kenya. That cancellation happened in the period leading into this summit. A summit built on the premise of deepening French-Kenya economic cooperation. The contradiction between that cancellation and the summit's partnership narrative has not been resolved. It has simply been set aside for the duration of the event. So beyond that, the language and culture gap is structural. France's historical influence on the continent was built through Francophone relationship, shared language, colonial administrative ties, CFA France monetary dependency. Kenya operates entirely outside that framework. To bridge the gap, France has been expanding its cultural footprints in Nairobi, including French school expansion in the city. But a school expansion does not substitute for decades of embedded institutional relationship. The Francophone and Alcophone or Anglophone divide is not bridged by a summit communique. Crucially, while the official summit occupies KICC, a parallel event is running in Nairobi. The Pan-Africanism Summit against imperialism known as PASAI. The activists and movement gathered there making